Να ξεκινήσουμε. Είμαστε έτοιμοι. Εγώ είμαι η Μαρίλη, από το Marie Claire, και μαζί μου είναι ο Davison, που είναι Area Manager της L'Oréal Hellas. Είναι άντρας, αλλά έχει κάθε λόγο να είναι μαζί μας σήμερα, γιατί η L'Oréal υποστηρίζει έμπρακτα την ενδυνάμωση των γυναικών, ειδικά τώρα με ένα πρόγραμμα που έχει, το Women in Science, που υποστηρίζει τις γυναίκες, τις λίγες γυναίκες που κάνουν καριέρα στις θετικές επιστήμες. So, Alex, welcome.
Thank you very much, Marilyn. Thank you for that kind introduction. I really feel it's a privilege to be here to talk with you, to talk with everybody today. Είμαι μεγάλη μου χαρά να είμαι σήμερα μαζί σας για να μιλήσουμε για το Women in Science.
So you're doing very well in Greek.
Ακόμα μαθαίνω, γι' αυτό νομίζω ότι θα πρέπει να το γυρίζουμε αμέσως στα αγγλικά.
Thank you very much, Alex. So, what is this program? Women in Science, supported by L'Oréal and UNESCO.
So the program for Women in Science, our vision is to achieve gender equality in science, because there's a major imbalance right now. Our conviction is that the world needs science and science needs women.
What is the gender imbalance nowadays in science for women?
Okay,
how bad is it?
It's not good. So if you start with a bachelor degree level, actually more women than men take sciences, so it's like that. But when you get to MBA, when you get to PhD, the situation is reversed. When you then go and look at researchers in science, quite rapidly, and only 33% of researchers are women, 67% are men. When you look at top academic positions in science, it's even worse. So only 14% of positions are held by women, and 86% are held by men. And then finally, when you look at Nobel prize winners, it's 96% are taken by men and only 4% by women. So there's a big imbalance in science.
Do you have numbers for Greece?
I do. It's a similar picture in Greece. So when you look at Greece, 38% of researchers in science are women. And when you look at top academic positions, it's only 16%. It's below the European average, which is 24%. 24% is a very low number, but in Greece we're even worse.
Is it that important to have women in science?
It's very important. There are at least two major implications of women not being properly represented in science. The first issue is it leads to something called research bias. A research bias is when women aren't fully represented in science. It means that their needs aren't properly researched. And it also can mean that the solutions provided by science may not be fully addressing women's needs. I can give you a few examples. So if I look at health, it was in 2014, quite recently, that the US Department of Health, they found that there was strong male bias in the preclinical trials. And only in 2016 did they mandate that if you were going to get any research grants for preclinical trials, that you absolutely had to have proper female representation so the results could be valid. So that's in the area of health. But you can go to technology as a second example. So within technology, artificial intelligence, only 22% of professionals in artificial intelligence are women. In 2019, the UN published a paper on this, and they noted that this gender imbalance was being hard-coded into products, technology products, that we would have in our phones, in our lives, in our homes. They also cited that there was a feminization of digital assistants. You know, we have feminine-sounding names like Alexa, and the default setting on all these digital assistants, it's always female, and they were suggesting this is feeding the gender stereotype that women are subservient by having this dynamic. And then finally, one last example, even when it comes to safety. In both the US and the EU, it's not systematic tests of car crashes that they test for pregnant crash dummies. And so they can't validate that in a crash situation that these cars are protective of pregnant women. So you can have this very dangerous situation of research bias existing. That's the first reason. The second reason, though, is perhaps a more straightforward one. It is an unacceptable waste of talent. You know, the world is facing some serious challenges, some existential threats: climate change, loss of biodiversity, aging populations, pandemics, and it is an injustice that we're not leveraging half the brain power of the planet by properly retaining women in science.
What do you believe is driving this underrepresentation of women in science?
It is a complex issue, really. It's complex, and it changes as women go through their lives. In the pre-adulthood phase, the influence of parents, the influence of peers and friendship groups, girls can receive sometimes subtle or sometimes overt symbols or signals that science isn't for them, that it's a boys' game. My own daughter, Tabitha, she's now 19, she has a story to tell on this. When she was working in the UK, she was studying IB. She was one of only a few girls studying high-level maths. She was the only girl studying high-level physics. She moved to Greece, as we all did. Fortunately, the gender balance improved in her class, but most importantly, there was a male professor who really believed in her and gave her that sense of belonging and within the world of science, that it wasn't just a boys' game. And I'm very happy to say that only 7 weeks ago, she started as a mechanical engineer. I've got a picture of her, actually, as a mechanical engineer in Boston. So she's at the back second row from the back. You might see a bit of red hair. That's Tabby with her first class of mechanical engineers in Boston. So it's a first-hand experience of how if you're not careful, you can send the wrong signals and let girls believe that science isn't for them. Now, when you enter adulthood and at the university phase, that's when the role of mentors, the role of role models becomes super important, and there is a lack of female scientists who can act as role models, and therefore young female adults may, again, not be able to envision their future or maybe understand the opportunities that exist in the world of science. Then finally, when you enter the professional world in science, as you've seen, it's a field that is quite dominated by men, and then you do encounter bias, unconscious bias when it comes to hirings, promotions. You can get sexual harassment, discrimination, and of course then you have the challenge often of balancing work and family life. So right across life, there are different challenges entering and staying in the world of science.
And how do you think is L'Oréal to boost L'Oréal and UNESCO through this program? How can they help women in science?
Well, we're active on a number of fronts. Firstly, we have, at a global level, we have 500 academics who globally seek out great women scientists who can act as role models. And what we do, we support those women with grants. We provide visibility to them, to their work. In this way, we've supported 3,900 women in science globally from 110 different countries. And importantly, 5 of those women went on to win Nobel Prizes as well, which is absolutely fantastic. So that's the first thing that we do. The second thing we do, we provide networking opportunities through events, through a collaborative community platform. And also we coach on leadership. And then the third area where we're active is really just trying to drive awareness on this topic through data, through studies with UNESCO, through actions like this talk that we're having today, really.
How is this program active in Greece?
Well, we are in Greece. We've been active since 2009. In these years, we've awarded 32 fantastic Greek female scientists. It used to be an award that was done every second year. Now, as of this year, we'll be making awards every year. So every year, 3 more outstanding Greek female scientists will be awarded. And the next award ceremony is going to be in December this year. So please, look out for that.
What are the fields that these scientists are researching in?
Well, these Greek female scientists, they're active across all areas of science. So STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. I have 4 profiles that I can share with you. If I've lost my clicker, here it is, I'm sitting on it. Okay. So, to give you a sense of who these outstanding Greek female scientists are, this is Dr. Ioanna Soulaki, an associate professor of hygiene with an emphasis on epidemiology at the Medical School of Ioannina. She's also a professor in the School of Public Health at Imperial College in London. And she was awarded in 2019 for her work on cardiovascular disease risk factor research. I'll move on and introducing Dr. Maria Stamelu, a professor of neurology at the University of Marburg in Germany and head of the Parkinson's and Movement Disorders Department at the Year Hospital. She was awarded in 2019 also for her work on biomarkers and treatment for neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's. Then we have Dr. Eleni Efimidhiadou, is an assistant professor in the Laboratory of Inorganic Chemistry in the Chemistry Department of the National and University of Athens. And she was awarded in 2016 for developing targeted drug delivery systems to combat breast cancer and prostate cancer. To consider a different field, we have Calliope Dasseria, an assistant professor of observational astrophysics at the National and University of Athens, who led award-winning work into how the supermassive black holes affecting the evolution of their host galaxies generate winds. So incredibly diverse, and I think you get a sense as well of the tremendous impact these Greek scientists are having on humankind.
And for Greece, that's very important, like those persons.
Yes, it is, and that's a key dimension of this program, is to bring visibility to these outstanding scientists, to act as role models for others and inspire others, and to their...
Are also concerned about the role of women in science.
I think it's the mix of the two. So the importance of women to L'Oréal and the importance of science to L'Oréal. So women, supporting women, championing the causes of women has always been in L'Oréal's DNA. And that's why as a company, we have campaigns against street harassment, campaigns against domestic violence. We support women entrepreneurs and so forth. Now, at the same time, science is at the heart of L'Oréal. We talk about the purpose of L'Oréal is to create the beauty that moves the world. And this creation, this is impossible without having a terrific research and development department. We spend over €1 billion a year on research and development, and we have a team of 4,000 researchers with great gender parity, I would hasten to add. So, the importance of women, the importance of science to L'Oréal. When in 1998, the issue of gender equality was brought to our attention, we felt we were compelled to act.
Thank you very much. Do you have one last message to share with us?
One last thing I would say, Marίλη, is that we've started on this journey to achieve gender equality in science, but there is a super long way to go. I would say that we absolutely can, we must get there. As I said, the world is facing some tremendous challenges. And to end where I started, the world needs science, and science needs women. Thank you very much, Mary.
Thank you, Alex. It's a wrap. So.